Good morning. This is Amit Roy and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, this is the intro episode number 1 on my endeavor to declutter cloud computing. For all of us who are not experts in computing, we know somehow that cloud computing is what runs all engines today, like Facebook, Gmail, Android. And so, in these episodes, let's see how can we make its understanding simple and try to declutter it. So, cloud computing is based on the time sharing model we leveraged years ago before we could afford our own computers. The idea was to share the computing power among many companies and people, thereby reducing the cost of the computing power to those who could leverage it. The value of timeshare and the core value of computing are pretty much the same. Only the resources these days are much better and more cost effective. I am a technical professional with program management skills and I have been practicing various application developments, engineering developments with more than 20 years of experience. I have come a long way working with organizations like Tata's, the ExxonMobil, HCL Technologies Limited, SAP, and Amazon. Why this series? So more now than ever, understanding of the cloud computing, its concepts, and the design has become paramount for a technical program manager. Also, cloud computing is a no barrier for any startup, and today is the world of startups, right? Because it allows you to test your business, test your use case at a very fast pace with the least amount of infrastructure, quickly. And isn't that what is required for a startup? Have a thought, implement it, test it, and then go ahead and say that whether it is working or not. Every startup or even a new division in a large corporate or a company that has an idea or something new which they want to deploy or they want to figure out, the only viable means today is to use cloud computing. Why? One, because it's about speed, it's about cost, it's about absolute easiness, and this is the medium which is changing the world. So again, in this episode and the series of episodes, my focus is to the technical program managers who always don't really, are really that technical, who are great program managers. They can program, they can take bits of pieces here and there, and they can put all of them in one place. So what is the scope of a technical program manager? In today's world, the scope of a technical program manager is critical, very critical for any app development. It is about he or she understanding the problem, breaking the problem into, micro and macro steps, because that's how implementation will happen. And for them to do it, as in for them to understand the problem and then break it, they have to also be a sort of high-level architects or solution masters. So they should also provide the high-level design to their engineering teams. In my experience, I have found that most of these TPMs are heroes, they are stars when it comes to management of, how the deployment has to be done. They are stars in agile, waterfall models, simple Excel, tracking, following people, putting all of them together. But maybe one thing which I've seen which is significantly missing and which becomes a program hurdle is their ability to dive deep, understand the design, and make fast changes. It is almost like, if you're talking to a construction manager who is, let's say, the lead for a large flyover, and he's the responsible person, and imagine if they don't understand structural engineering, what would happen, right? We all use a flyover. So these series, which will go on, will keep on expanding, is to simplify the concept of computing, is to simplify what do you mean by designing, without really being an expert on Java, knowing Amazon, knowing all the different cloud services, but importantly knowing the components, and the components don't change by who is providing the cloud services. I will really not focus in this series on too much technicality, but more on too much on the analytical part, thought part, that hey, when you need to design, what are the fundamentals you need to do? We will talk about, at a very high level, what is cloud? What are the components of clouds? As I said, that doesn't change from one environment to the other environment. What are the design elements? Very critical. And to make it simple, to make it easy, to make it practical, we'll talk about many design use cases. And the last but not the least, how do you take a design and break it into a development process? So, do I claim to be a super expert on cloud computing? The answer is no. I've just learned in this journey. I've also understood that this is one area where you don't need a lot of expertise, but you need a lot of commonsensical thought process. And you need to understand, you need to read a lot about the components. You need to read a lot about what works, what fails. But what you will see if you follow the series, you will see that every design, every implementation, every deployment has a common framework. If you understand that framework, and that's a secret I want to share with you, you have it. So of course, I got this understanding, as I said, through reading, discussing with engineers, and acquiring the right, understanding through mistakes. I would encourage all of you do the same. So this series, how I have made this series has been basically recorded to be small nuggets of 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes 4 minutes, depending on the subject. I will enable it to be downloaded so that you can just carry it in your mobile, read it, listen to it whenever you want it. Please go ahead and share it wherever you want to share it. No privacy here. I have also taken the knowledge from everybody else. I believe that these nuggets are small pieces of information. These are generally easy to understand, easy to recollect, and then easy to digest. Again, as Amit Roy, the owner of this series, requesting you that if you like the series, subscribe to my channel, Learn with Roy. That is also my Twitter handle. And press the notification button so that you keep on getting notification as and when I upload these nuggets. Thank you. Signing off.